am Kristal Hart, and welcome to the show. We're with Bob Arum. And Bob, how did you find Kelly?
Well, Cameron Duncan, who scouts the amateur kids who are turning professional, came to us and he said that he had this kid who, because of his age, had just missed making the Olympic team and was a great, great prospect, one of the hardest hitting amateurs he had ever seen, and would we be interested? And we took a look at Kelly in his first professional fight, and he knocked the guy cold, and we signed him to a promotional contract. We realized it'd be a long-term process, developing him into a full professional who could fight anybody in the world, and Kelly hasn't disappointed, particularly the last couple of years. Last time I did a fight for him in Youngstown, I said that this year he would fight for the middleweight championship of the world, and he's doing that, and he's coming off tremendous wins over Jose Luis Zertucci, as well as, of course, Edison Miranda. So we think Kelly is ready. We think he's going to win on Saturday. He's going to knock Jermaine Taylor out, and the Youngstown, Warren area will have another champion. And it was my good fortune to have promoted two former champions from the area, Ray Mancini and Harry Arroyo. It's really great for me to be here on the eve of what I predict will be one of the great fights in the middleweight division. Top Rank handled for many years most of the middleweight championship matches. We promoted Monzon, Valdez, Antifermo, and one day we got two letters in our office I'll never forget. One from Ted Kennedy, a senator from Massachusetts, and the other from Tip O'Neill, the Speaker of the House. And the letter said, stripped of its verbiage, that unless I gave Marvelous Marvin Hagler a shot at the title, they would haul my ass to Washington, and I'd be testifying before the congressional committees. With that type of impetus, I got in touch with Hagler's people in Massachusetts, and before long, Marvin was fighting for the middleweight championship, and Top Rank had the honor of promoting every single championship match that the great, marvelous Marvin Hagler took part in. So I know something about the middleweight division, and let me tell you something. With all due respects to Tommy Hearns, who was one hell of a puncher, I really believe that Kelly Pavlik is the best puncher that I've ever seen in the middleweight division, and unlike Tommy, has a chin to go with it. And that's why I believe, with all due respect to Jermaine, who's a sensational fighter and a real nice young man, that Saturday night there'll be a new middleweight champion of the world. I want to thank various people who made this possible. It's very, very hard when you're bringing a fighter along to get him exposure and to get him the right fights. And if it wasn't for the Versus Network, where we were able to showcase Kelly 3 different times, I don't know whether this would be possible, what's happening this week. Kelly was in the inaugural show of Versus telecast, and he performed twice more for that audience. And I also want to thank Ross Greenberg and Kerry Davis. First, for allowing Kelly to fight on a Boxing After Dark fight against Zertucci, and then finally an eliminator against Edison Miranda. But much more important, you know, boxing being boxing, a number of people went to HBO and said, rather than doing this fight, let's do a doubleheader, let's build it up, let's make a big pay-per-view event. And Ross and Kerry put down their feet and said, baloney. This is the fight that we want. This is the fight that the public wants. And this is the fight we're going to have, or we're not interested in any other fights or combinations. And because they took that position, this fight was made, and you're going to see something that's great for boxing on Saturday night. Kelly Pavlik, when he came to Top Rank, was a really young kid. He had just turned 18. Cameron Duncan brought him to us. We saw right on that he had a punch like you couldn't believe in knockouts in his early fights. But it takes time to build a fighter. And that's what we do at Top Rank. We build fighters step by step so that when they fight for a world title, they're prepared and they're ready and they will win. And it couldn't have been done without his trainer, who trained him from the time he was 10 years old as an amateur. Because sometime in boxing, with all due respect to Emmanuel, who's a great, great, great trainer, really is, real knowledgeable about the sport. Sometimes you will see a man who has had no big reputation take a kid and be able to get on the wavelength with the kid so that he can train that fighter like nobody else can. And that's the case with Jack Lowe. Jack has done a tremendous job with Kelly, and I think on Saturday night after the fight, he'll get his props. I stand corrected. I didn't see it that way. Well, this is great. This is great because, I mean, they're all boxing people here. We're talking about boxing, not a lot of nonsense. And we have two fighters who respect the sport and respect each other. And that's what's great about this event and great about a Taylor-Pavlik fight. Kelly Pavlik, we're so proud of him because of the way he's been in and out of the ring. He has developed to a point where I believe that he is by far the best middleweight, super middleweight in the world, that there's nobody that can stand up to his strength and his power. He's the complete package. It's not a debate. You'll see for yourself on Saturday, and it'll be determined in the ring, not by what anyone says.